You hear me? There
Yeah, yeah.
you go.
Sorry for that interruption. Thanks for
Oh, no
joining
worries.
again.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
so everything you do everything through Wheelbase, and
yeah, most of it
even
through
your
wheelbase.
scheduling. Um, I mean, do you have a secondary step where you take information from Wheelbase to create like another schedule that you then put into the Google Doc?
Yes, my wife again, she does a great job with all those documents. It's we've got about seven, eight tabs within one, main. Basically, it's our RV rental business and stuff, and it just has a cleaning schedule, it has driver delivery schedules, driver's lists, stuff like that. And we just try to just centralize it all there and then give access to all the people involved so that at any given time, if they're planning out their family schedule and stuff, they can look at it and go, oh, it looks like Lewis is going to need some help on Saturday or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so that's that. We try to keep it simple, really. Keep it very, very simple. Most of us have iPhones, but Google Docs you can use on both, Android and iPhone, iOS, so yeah, it's we try to keep it as simple as possible.
Okay. So would you describe your like yourself and your wife's role as like the fleet managers, and then you've got
Um,
like
that Yeah, I
drivers,
wanted to answer that
cleaners?
question because you did ask that before. Yeah, we have we fumbled around a couple of seasons with having like a fleet manager. I had a part-time fleet manager when we had 20 some units, and then was looking at hiring a full-time guy last season. That didn't work out. But this season for sure, with especially with purchasing that property, we're going all in, and I need somebody full-time. And he's a guy that he's got his own camper. He's an avid camper. He knows his stuff. He knows how to fix things, very, very, handy. And then his wife is going to help with cleaning and stuff like that. So it's a perfect package to have a family that is just as committed as we are as owners, right? So, so yeah, so I'll have a fleet manager, and then a lot of guys. I've got guys that are really good with finishing stuff, like piece of wood chips off or falls off or something like that. They're really good with that type of stuff. And I've got guys that are really handy. Just they know how to fix generators and carburetors and all these different types of things. So I always try to just have guys that are just really skilled in a lot of these areas, because again, things are always going to happen, and you just got to be prepared for it, right? So that's kind of, as far as our staff goes, and just with always being in mind, like it's a seasonal business. You're never going to have somebody that's going to work for you, for us anyway. Some people are in like Southern California, Arizona, where it's just literally 12 out of 12 months. But for us, it's very, very seasonal. I mean, we pretty much shut down our doors, November, beginning November until probably March, probably February, March, I'd say.
Yeah, right,
So
right,
where we'll do one or two rentals and stuff like that. But most of them are winterized, and we get very, very cold winters. So
right, right. Well, I heard that so it sounds like one of my questions was, if you could do it all over again, how would you do it differently? And it sounds like you've already pulled that trigger and you've got two pieces of property now that are
yeah,
separate.
well, our home where we're at is 7.5 acres, and that's what we've been running our business off of. But it's getting to a point to where like it's costing me a ton of money to pay drivers because of it's about 30 minutes from where we are to the gorge, which is our main venue, right? So it's a big concert venue.
Yeah, I've
So
been there.
we
Yeah.
yeah, so we shortened it up. So we're literally like right down the street from it. We're 6 minutes from the gorge now. And it's a big 10-acre property. Well, we can fit 200 units on it if we wanted to. And so that is gonna save us a ton of money on fuel, and it's gonna save us a ton of money just in the delivery fee, because I don't foresee us changing the delivery fee, because the delivery fee for us to the gorge has zero to do with distance and everything to do with how much of a pain in the butt the gorge is, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and yeah, and
Waiting
having
time.
yes, all that stuff. So we won't change that at all, and we'll basically keep that. But a lot of that delivery fee I was paying a lot of the drivers, so we'll be able to keep, because I'm not going to pay them the same amount of money from the distance that we were paying them from our house versus they're 6 minutes away. We can do 3 to 4 trips in the time it takes to do one trip, right?
Right, right,
So so anyway, so just that alone is just going to change the game for us.
right, right. Um, mind if I ask what is your base delivery fee and the mileage on top of that?
Yeah, so it all depends. So when we just do like regular type campsites, I have anything over I call it a long delivery trip. It's 125 bucks, and they always typically use our trucks, so they don't ever have to worry about fuel. So you just use our trucks, just go deliver it, it's 30, 40 miles, 125 bucks. And then anything kind of that's really relatively close, because we do have a lot of campsites that are fairly close to us. It's 60 to $75, depending on, again, the distance.
This is what you
And
pay your drivers
what I
to
pay my drivers, yeah. So
one round trip.
one round trip. So a driver essentially, I pay drivers as much as 800 bucks in one day, just by driving a bunch of campers around for us. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's a good. If you're a teacher, which I've got a couple of guys that are teachers. It's a great summer gig
The
for
summer gig.
them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I was gonna go look for crusty old farts on Facebook
Well,
who
that
know how
too.
who have trucks and know how
Yeah.
to tow a camper and
Yeah.
appeal to that
Retired
audience.
folks and teachers.
Teachers,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Who
Yeah.
have trucks.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, even
um,
then, like I said, they always just come to use my truck, and then the guys that use their own, I reimburse them for gas.
okay.
Yeah. So
So does your delivery fee that you charge your end user customers, is that like what's the base for that? I mean, I assume
yeah.
does all the money you charge them go to your drivers?
Yeah, again, not necessarily. We try to keep money for like wear and tear and service. You got to do for the trucks is tires and all that stuff is expensive nowadays. So we try to make a little bit of money on all of our delivery fees. So that goes into kind of that portion of making sure all of our units are maintained and taken care of. So it's case by case. So of course, like I said, with the gorge, like we charge a $300 flat fee. That's round trip for the gorge delivery, and it has hardly anything to do with distance. It's just the amount of time we spend messing around with the gorge type stuff, right? But then honestly, if you're at a campsite like that's down the street from the gorge, and it's not a pain in the butt to get into, and we know the owners of it, we know just about everybody that owns these campsites.
Yeah.
It takes 10, 15 minutes to go drop a camper. 160 bucks is our minimum round trip. 160 bucks is our minimum, and that covers up to 25 miles. So anything past that, you're probably talking an additional, I'd say like 79 cents a mile.
So is that what you charge them? Is
Yeah,
79 cents a
yeah,
mile
yeah,
for every mile coming and going
yeah. But
all,
then,
all
but when
four
you
times?
well, when you start getting into so we had a delivery that it was an extra long one. Just put it that way. It was like probably a 3.5 hour trip there and then a 3.5 hour trip back. So
Yeah.
you're literally tying up a driver all day. I charge them 750 bucks and they pay
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So just stuff like that. Yeah. So it's kind of case by case. We have lots of folks that call us and they're like, yeah, this guy doesn't want to deliver to me. Can you deliver? And I'll look at it and I'll look at the schedule. And if it pulls a truck out of that area and it really hurts our business, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Because I could do 2 to 3 deliveries on a Friday versus that one really long one that's going to pay me X amount of money, but
Yeah.
I'm really not because I'm really hurting our business doing that. So I
Yeah.
consider a lot of that type of stuff. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I've
Gotcha.
turned I've turned lots of people down. I mean, I got people that want me to deliver all the way up close to Canada, and stuff like that, and I'm like, here's what I'd have to charge you. To make it worth it. And then even then, like I don't want to do it because I've got 15 deliveries I got to make that day and I've only got 7 drivers.
Right. Ties up a truck.
How are you going
Takes
to
it
do it?
out.
Yeah.
Out of commission. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess my next question is just sort of you've been in business for a while. You're still. I'm just kind of wondering what is the competition or composition of like your rentals now, as far as like what position or composition comes from like peer-to-peer platforms like RV Share, Outdoorsy, and then how many are like repeat, renters that go just directly through, your website.
Yeah, good question. When we first started, it was all RV share and very few outdoorsy. And I was excited if I was making a couple $100 in a weekend. It's just extra side money.
Yeah.
But when you start really putting a pencil to it and you look at truck payments and insurance and fuel and all these different things, you're like, man, I'm really not making anything. But it was a business that was producing some income for me. And I was like, this is actually working. Why don't I
Yeah.
just figure out how to make it work better for me? And so, when it came to, I lost my train of thought. What was the
Repeat
question
business.
again?
Well, I
Yeah,
guess
repeat.
like
Oh,
what
sorry.
percentage is from peer to peer
Yeah,
now, and what comes like repeat customers or from your website or through your website
yeah.
directly? But
So
how many
like I
are like
said,
sort of also just sort of initial people who find you not through RDP or share or peer to peer, just find you through your website
yeah,
that are
that's
not repeat customers?
yeah. So we started Google Ads probably after that first season. So I started putting some Google Ads out there, and we started getting a lot of renters finding our website and stuff like that. So I spent about 250 that first season. Gosh, we wanted to grow, so I spent about 300 to 400 bucks a month during the off season to grow our clientele, because I knew down the road we're going to get return renters, right? So now though, like most of ours, so we're booked out for Labor Day weekend, Dave Matthews weekend, right?
Yep.
We're booked out all but 2 units right now out of the 50. So it's like it's crazy, almost a whole year in advance, and they're all return renters or referrals. So now the majority of our business, honestly, it's less than 1% I get from RV share. And then I would say we get probably maybe 20% from Outdoorsy, but because Wheelbase is that, their sister company of Outdoorsy, it all
Yeah.
kind of it's the same bucket. But we get most of them are return renters or people finding our website. And honestly, what we're learning is people want to go direct. Some people like using the website, they don't care, but you'll find a lot of people want to save a couple $100 on the fees because there's so many fees RV Share has. It's ridiculous. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
So when you do that, you must have insurance. You must. So I guess the next question is like, which commercial liability and collision insurance do you use to cover yourself
yeah.
for those kinds of renters that come through your website?
So through the website, we're still selling the Roamly insurance. We're still selling the Outdoorsy insurance, right? It's the same insurance. And so when it's coming through Wheelbase, it's the same insurance as if you're going to go through Outdoorsy. And then
Oh,
to cover all of our rigs, we go through Roamly. Roamly covers them all. So there's what I've learned, and I don't really like it, and I've got to figure something else out about it. But when we're delivering a unit, that's the only time it's not covered. So when it's on the rental, coming back from a rental, or at a property, it's covered. And then I also bought this last year a $2 million umbrella policy that just is over and above whatever is covered. So if anything ever happened to any of the units while it's on our property, um, we got $2 million of coverage there.
right. But you're saying there's not coverage during the delivery to the venue,
Yeah,
or
yeah. It's a I don't know. It's a weird thing. They consider that when it's going to a delivery, it's not actually on the rental yet. So when it's delivered, and then when it's coming on the rental, and then when it's coming back, it's still considered on the rental until we close it out, and fill up the documents and stuff like that, and say, here's the damages, or there was no damages, and they can get their deposit back.
so is that an outdoorsy thing, or is that a
It's an RV share thing and outdoorsy thing.
okay? But your own
I
umbrella policy, does that cover when you're on the road and when they're
Yeah,
just parked
yeah.
in
It
your
covers
lot?
it covers our business. It covers our LLC. Yeah,
Okay. So it must cover all the time, whether it's stored in your lot, whether it's on the road going to a venue and while it's at the venue
yeah.
itself and coming back, of course.
Yeah, we're covered. We that was one thing we we needed to get was that umbrella policy, just to make sure everybody was safe and we were safe and
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
And that umbrella policy, was that through Romley too?
No, that's through State Farm.
Oh, okay. Something else.
Yeah, because we have all of our like our personal stuff, our house, things like that, and insurance and stuff like that under State Farm. But Romley doesn't do an umbrella policy. I've already asked them, but State Farm does for LLCs and stuff like that.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to me for a whole hour here.
Yeah.
It's been very, enlightening. I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge, and um, I see why you're so successful. Is you're, you know, very passionate about this, and you've been able to share this with your staff too, and everybody's all on the same page and believing in the same system. So.
Yeah.
Um, um, I love the gorge too. I remember being when I'm back in my college days. I went to like a Grateful Dead show and a Fish show or something.
Yeah.
The place
Yeah.
is
Those are great.
crazy,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
crazy.
A couple of years ago, they had that last hurrah. They had it there at the gorge.
Yeah,
Their farewell tour, I think it was, or whatever, or Deadhead or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but we got booked out in October. Like as soon
yeah,
as those tickets, that weekend was available, yeah, we started getting calls. We got booked out really fast, and it was crazy how many people were there. Yeah,
right, right. So, I mean, let me ask you one last question before I say goodbye. It's like,
yeah.
is the bulk of the business like through events, like the Gorge? What part of it is, through just regular campgrounds or RV resorts?
I'd say honest, like 25% of our rentals are outside of the gorge. So I always say about 80%, but it's more like 75 to 70% go to the gorge. And there's the four big ones. You've got Memorial Day, you've got Beyond Wonderland, you've got the Watershed Weekend, which is that 4-day concert country music festival, and
Yeah,
then you've got Dave Matthews is by far the biggest. It's the bread and butter of our entire season, and it's the one we enjoy the most. We really love the people, and the people
yeah,
love us. So and then in between, you'll have little concerts here and there and stuff like that. But for the most part, yeah, it's those big 4 weekends, and then the other 25%. Chelan, you got Lake Chelan, which is beautiful up here. You've got all the Coulee City area,
hmm,
Grand Coulee, that area, like tons of campsites, Steamboat Rock State Park. We're surrounded by just beautiful campgrounds and resorts and stuff like that. Crescent Bar, and then you've got Mardon Resort, which is world renowned for fishing, and so it's just all sorts of stuff around us. So we
Oh
get a
yeah.
lot of that. Yeah, yeah, we get a lot of
The
that.
geology in Washington and the Pacific Northwest is amazing. I'm
Yes,
kind of a
yeah,
geology fan myself, and there's some amazing things that have happened in Washington. So
yeah.
I the campgrounds, it's just you're just surrounded by beauty out there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, and I'd like to get a footprint in like Seattle or that market, but you know, we stay busy enough here. Yeah,
You don't want to get too busy and get burnt out. So.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
Well, thanks again, Louis. I appreciate it so much. This has really been sort of like the dream interview I have had. Is like the original guy who kind of got me interested in really, really like
Wow, that's awesome, man. No, I
um
I appreciate you saying that. I just, and I didn't say this in the beginning, but we started a lot of this just because when we started, we had no help, no help whatsoever, and we had to learn a lot of this stuff on our own, and a lot of mistakes, ton of mistakes, and it was okay. We learned a ton through that, and I'm so grateful and help, and I love helping people just getting their business started. If it's a dream and you got a passion and you want to live a certain way and a certain life, like any way that we can help, like we're all for it, because again, that's the whole reason why I started the channel was just you'll see the videos in the beginning were all just goofy videos of us just making lots of mistakes and being made fun of, but we didn't care. We
Yeah.
wanted to keep putting content out as we learn stuff. And
Yeah.
honestly, I've got so much I have to get out. I really do, because we just been so busy the last season and really 2 seasons where I haven't been able to put a lot of content out, but I need to. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I, I just hope you can figure out how not to get burnt out. And
Yeah.
doing the content creation is a lot of work, but
Yes.
sure, it's fun too.
Yeah.
So
I think
I
more
hope you do that.
lives, because the editing can be, yeah, I like lives, I like interviews, I like conversations. So I
Yeah.
think if we do more of those, there's not as much editing you have to do. So we'll be able to share that stuff and handle some questions that people might have, stuff like that. I'm going to be doing a couple of lives here this season. So
Great. I look forward to seeing them,
yeah.
hearing you
Well, it's
again.
been my pleasure, Eric. And
Yeah.
if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out.
Great. Thank you so much, Lewis.
Yeah.
All
My pleasure,
right.
buddy. All right. You take
Have a
care.
good evening. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.